Hi there, I'm Matt Easton. I run this YouTube channel called Scholar Gladiatore, named after my fencing clubs. So I am primarily an antique sword dealer. I also work on the development of very accurate replicas with the Royal Armouries and other manufacturers. And I am also a fencing coach. I run a series of fencing clubs as well. So therefore, I have three main ways that I interact with the import and export of swords. I have to be on top of the law. I have to have, fulfill all of the correct requirements and understand what I'm doing. And of course, that covers antiques, fencing weapons, and modern highly accurate museum replicas. Now, I've talked a lot in the past about the potential for the UK to ban in some way swords. Now, that hasn't happened yet, although it must be pointed out without any political bias that certain people within the Labour Party at the moment are talking about banning swords pretty much wholesale, and that's something we need to keep an eye on. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about almost, we can consider, a sort of backdoor ban. That is, swords haven't been banned, but Parcelforce and Royal Mail have at short notice announced that they will no longer transport swords. Now, you may of course say, oh, use another carrier, use another company, they're a private company, then they can do what they like. But they weren't a private company until quite recently. Royal Mail and Parcelforce were partially owned by the British government, that is, partially owned by us, the taxpayer. And the British government sold off their shares gradually in Royal Mail until they became fully privatised. But importantly, they remain the state carrier of our post and our parcels. If someone from another country posts something here, it gets handed over to Royal Mail or Parcelforce. So they are privatised, but they are very much part of the infrastructure of the United Kingdom. Now, obviously, the banning of swords in the Royal Mail and Parcelforce networks has massive repercussions for a number of different sectors, not just the things I do, also things like the movie and film industries and lots of other things as well. So I'm now going to cite to you two letters that have been sent to Parcelforce, and I would urge you to, number one, contact Parcelforce and or Royal Mail, using one of these letters as a template if you want to. And number two, to contact your MP, or if you want, the Home Secretary or Culture, Media and Sport, whoever you want, a Minister of State, or, as I say, your local MP, who you can look up online if you're in the UK. And if you're not in the UK, you can still feed into this by emailing one of the Parcelforce addresses that I'm going to put down below in this video, where you'll also find the text of these two letters available for you to copy and paste. If you don't have the time, or you think those letters portray your thoughts exactly, it will save you some time. You can cut and paste them, top and tail them, or adjust them slightly if you want, and send them off to your MPs and or Parcelforce, and I would suggest doing both. So I'm going to read through these two letters as quickly as I can, and I suggest, and I ask you to take action on this, because at the moment this is crippling, or will cripple as of the 7th of May, will cripple numerous museums and businesses and cultural activities, sports, all sorts of things. So this first letter was drafted by me. Dear Parcelforce team, this affects sports, museums, antiques, TV movies, heritage events, the military, and much more. I have also included my MP. I'm an antique dealer. I work with museums and TV companies, and I'm also a fencing instructor. Yesterday, we became aware of the intention by Parcelforce to totally prohibit the transport of all swords, including antiques, museum items, theatrical props, and fencing equipment within the UK and internationally, without exception. This cripples a huge number of cultural, historical and sporting businesses. A number of us heard about Royal Mail's intention to do this some time ago, and speaking to our account managers at Parcelforce, we were assured by them, as recently as last week, that Parcelforce services for account holders, like me, would remain unchanged in this regard. But now we're being told that Parcelforce have done a U-turn and turned back on that decision, coming into force very quickly on the 7th of May, incredibly short notice. This impacts a huge number of people and businesses, including the antiques trade, TV movie industry, theatres, schools, universities, fencing clubs, historical reenactment societies, museums, and manufacturers and makers, traditional blacksmiths. Yet kitchen knives, which were estimated by Kent Police as used in over 70% of stabbings, I think it was 74%, are still being taken by Royal Mail and Parcelforce. They're the things primarily being used in crime, certainly not swords. We cannot make sense of this policy decision or what possible gains it offers. We feel incredibly disappointed and betrayed by Royal Mail and Parcelforce, with whom many of us have had business accounts for decades, myself included. We have complied with all laws and regulations as they've come through. We've carried out age checks and used age-verified delivery services. Many of us have customers worldwide, myself included, and are renowned for our products. Our antique, movie and theatre, heritage, museum and fencing trades are world famous and we trade with the world. We therefore request a meeting with your management to discuss the reasoning for this decision and the options going forwards as soon as possible. But there must be some alternative arrangement possible. You have, after all, a firearms shipping team and options for transporting antique and modern firearms, as well as ammunition and explosives. It seems reasonable and completely viable, therefore, that a special service could be tagged onto this for swords and similar items. Surely we cannot be in a situation whereby it's easier to post live ammunition and firearms than a blunt fencing foil to a school or a prop, for example, to a theatre production. It's ludicrous. With Parcelforce, an item now featured on the Antiques Roadshow on a Sunday and sold in auction, can't be shipped anywhere, even overseas. So not even just within the UK, you can't send it to America or Australia. What sense does that make? Our Olympic fencers can't import equipment from other manufacturers outside the UK. Museums can't transfer historical swords to each other, which is something that happens. And families of serving military officers can't send their parade dress swords to their relative who's in the military. There must be some solution and workaround to this, and we look forward to working with you going forwards. So this next letter comes from Tom Hughes, an antique collector who I know, are very well written, that's why I've picked it out, and I'm going to put both of these texts, mine and his, down below. You can use either, you can mix and match as you like. Dear whoever, this is actually going to the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport. I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to seek your urgent assistance in addressing a matter of grave concern that affects multiple industries across the United Kingdom and even international markets. Recently, Royal Mail and Parcelforce have implemented an excessively broad ban on the posting of bladed items and products through their courier services. While I acknowledge the importance of private commercial entities contributing to national security efforts, this blanket ban has far exceeded the boundaries set forth by Parliament itself in the Offensive Weapons Act of 2019. That's an important fact. This goes way beyond what was set out actually in law. Parcelforce and Royal Mail are debatably not acting within the law, they're acting beyond it. It's evident that this private policy has been implemented hastily, resulting in severe repercussions for countless lawful businesses and individuals across the country. This ban will have a devastating repercussion across various sectors, including, but not limited to, 1. Jobs and the economy. Industries spanning sporting, military, entertainment, antiquities, martial arts, sports fencing, reenactment, auction houses, collectors and restoration, very important, among others, have been left in a state of uncertainty. that is a mild word for it. Unable to conduct their operations economically. Livelihoods are hanging in the balance. True fact. Secondly, it will affect heritage, culture and religion. Traditional craftsmen who already operate within a challenging environment out of deep-seated passion for preserving facets of our unique culture and heritage of manufacturing are now facing yet further setbacks. Additionally, religious artefacts such as kirpans or swords, essential to the practices of communities like Sikhs, which have received exemptions from Parliament throughout the last few decades, have been entirely disregarded. It's imperative that we find a balanced approach that prioritises public safety while also taking into account the needs of businesses and individuals reliant on the transportation of such items for their livelihoods. Given your esteemed position and influence as our Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, I urgently request your unwavering support in advocating for the reconsideration of this ill-conceived ban. Your assistance in engaging with relevant stakeholders, raising awareness about the severe ramifications of this decision and exploring alternative solutions would be invaluable. So I strongly urge you to do something. Email Royal Mail, Parcelforce, write an ink letter if you like and send it, but also importantly engage with your MPs and also send this to either the Secretary of State, for example, for Culture, Media and Sport, or the Home Secretary, or indeed the Prime Minister. Thanks a lot for listening, thanks a lot for helping. You'll find more information down below that you can cut and paste and email addresses to use. Thanks for watching. I have been Matt Easton and I will be again next time. Cheers.